Am I audible?
2 चम्मच चीनी के कैलोरीज बर्न करना मतलब 1 किलो निकालना। इसलिए शुगर फ्री टी 0 कैलोरीज टी कैफीन से बना 100% नेचुरल टी। शुगर फ्री टी फिर इसका पहला कदम। इसका पहला कदम।
Am I audible? Am I audible? So right. So I welcome you all people in this live YouTube channel, that is like live YouTube session. Okay. And so today we discuss this thing, that is the topic of the day. Okay. Today we discuss topic of the day. Please all of you register your presence. All of you who are viewing this class. So like first of all, I would like to tell you that in this session, I would be discussing the most important topic of the day, and most important topic of the day depending upon your UPSC. The topic today which came in editorial of Hindu newspaper was like related to hydrogen fuel, and other editorial was very political in nature, so of no use. Hydrogen fuel was again like a topic which was taken in a very from the point of its implementation. Okay, so I did not take that. I took a topic which was covered as a person who was the former secretary. He was the former health secretary, and his name was Keshav Deshi Raju. Okay, his name was Keshav Deshi Raju. Okay, Keshav Deshi Raju. Okay, if I can start this thing. Okay. So please bear with me for 2 or 3 minutes. I would get that pen tab connected. So his name was exactly he was the former health secretary, and his name was Keshav Deshi Raju. है ना? He died. So based on that, a particular news has been established and has been published in Hindu newspaper, which says about which basically provides uh, uh, a homage to that person. Okay, and has been written by and has been written by like Vandana Gopi Kumar, who is the founder of Banyan. Now, Banyan is basically an NGO which works for mental health people and mental health domain. So in that I decided, and I then thought that this is an important topic for your exam, and then I took this topic and I tried to build the topic from the perspective of UPSC. Okay. Some of the things written in that homage is very relevant for how to frame your questions. But before that, I would like to discuss how and why this topic becomes so important for your exam. Okay, so if you all can, because you know the thing has been, I would forward the message related to link to all the persons so that they can come on board and okay, please bear with me for few minutes, that is. So so this person means Keshav Deshi Raju. He basically died, and based on the homage that has been written, I have taken this national mental health care in India. You know, I would provide you a brief, you can say, prologue. Okay, ये होता है मूवी का ट्रेलर. I would be providing. Actually, I cannot tell like movie का trailer because this is a very sensitive issue. So I should not be using those words. So national mental health care. You know, in India, this issue has been impinging, like challenging the government and the state and the nation's health infrastructure since since time immemorial. After independence, this whole thing has been challenging. No, but we as a country did not have that much of resource, because basically we first of all wanted to provide food, nutritious food, sanitation, housing, education. These type of basic needs we had to provide to the nation at that time, because when those English people left us, our country was completely dilapidated. Okay, so mental health care at that time was considered as a luxury. Was considered as a luxury. So the policy framers and the policy implementers and all those people who had to do something sitting in the state machinery, state with capital S, they exactly were very sensitive to this issue, but they never came out with a proper, because the budgeting was not there. We already had a very constrained budget. Okay, but now, because of two reasons. First of all, this topic itself has become very, very important, because now our whole world is basically thinking on this particular thing, mental health. Okay, and India is not untouched by these aspects. You know, today it is said in an informal, some survey conducted by private institutions, it is said, and that survey has been authenticated by Lancet. Lancet is a medical journal, a UK based medical journal, which is followed by all healthcare officials and healthcare government agencies throughout the world. they have authenticated that finding that in India, out of every 100 people, 20 people have certain mental health issues that is making their life debilitated. Okay, that means they are getting seriously affected by that. And in general, they say that out of every 100 people, 40 people have some mental health care issues. Okay, and out of those 40 people, 20 people are in serious like clinical scenario. Okay, so they require immediate treatment. So this particular mental health care itself has become a very important issue. And second thing is that now government, our Indian government that is, has lots of resource from which it can allocate some of that into mental health care. Okay, so this thing has made this particular topic as important. Actually, we had a National Mental Health Care Act 1987. National Mental Health Care 1987, but the provisions and the statutory like guidelines provided in that act was very no, those guidelines cannot be implemented today. It would be inhuman to implement those guidelines today, because with the scientific development and more understanding of this particular issue, mental health care, all the medical findings of that time cannot be applied, because those findings were archaic. That means एकदम पुराने जमाने का था. वो लोग बोलता था कि मतलब mental issues. Now also we have so much of stigma attached to this term. We say that mental हो गया, mental मत बनो, as if like we have so much of infrastructure to care for our body, that is physical body, not understanding that even in our physical body, out of every 100 like 100 times we visit to a doctor, about 80 times the disease are not physical, rather the disease are psychosomatic. PSYCHO, psychosomatic. That means it has to relate, it has, okay, the symptoms are happening at somatic level. That means at bodily level, but the reason is psycho. That means psychic. So mental and physical both are like two wheels of a bullock cart, and you cannot treat them individually. This is the irony of modern medicine, that it has always been treating body and not the mind. We have been treating the disease and not the patient. The new motto of American hospital has been to treat the patient and not the disease. To treat the patient and not the disease. Because of video bar this is not coming, so I would write here, treat the patient and not the disease. This particular motto you would find in most of the American hospitals now, Harvard Medical School or Stanford Medical, or in hospitals of California. You would find that this particular motto has become their single point agenda, that they have to no, they are interested now in treating the patient and not the disease. That means treating disease means like you are basically treating the physical symptoms of the disease, so not getting to the root. Most of the time we have headache, we have severe headache, and we go to doctor considering that we have some serious physical disease, okay, related to our physical body. But most of the time it is like issues related to our mental makeup. Sometimes we have we feel anxiety and we feel stress, and our blood pressure shoots up, we have palpitations. Most of us experience it. Like this has become very common. So we think that we have serious heart issue, and we go to, but root reason is our anxiety. Out of 100 people in India, about 55 people are having issues related to anxiety. And out of those 55 people, more than 25 people are having serious anxiety issues. All these things have become amplified after we have got into this scenario of this corona. Okay. So, mental health care itself has become very important. You know, uh, WHO says that in 2030, by 2030, humanity would face only, like, if I can, WHO says that by 2030, humanity would have only two problems. That is, two major problems. That is global warming and mental health issues. Okay. And this particular thing was said by WHO in 2017. And after this corona, you can only better guess that how this particular thing has become so center point of all the government of the world. Okay. So, this particular thing has become very important. And today we are talking as a homage to the former secretary of former health secretary of the union government, Mr. Keshav Deshi Raju. He died, and based on that, because he was the architect of National Mental Healthcare Policy and National Mental Healthcare Act, the act which was passed in 2017. It basically amended the archaic older act of 1987. Okay, so this is the whole gist of our today's discussion. Okay, so now if I can go to say something more, no, first of all, before I come to that discussion, I want to tell something. My name is actually Niraj Kumar, and my code is Niraj Lexicon. Why? Because I have written the book Lexicon, okay, which is considered as the NCRT for your ethics paper. I have written another book, that is Vade Mekum. This is to cater to newer realities post pandemic, and issues like anxiety, all the topics that we would be discussing today I have discussed in this book. These topics have become more important in today's exam, particularly for your ethics paper and also for your essay paper as well. Okay, so like issues like migration, migrants, poverty, work from home, anxiety issues related to work from home. We are spending so much of time on our on this laptop, and the anxiety issues, and then like online education. So I've written another book, that is Vade Mekum. Both the books Lexicon and Vade Mekum are available on every e-card. Okay, my classes are available on Unacademy profile page. You can go and you can follow me at on my profile page. There are free special classes, YouTube sessions, as well as plus classes. Plus classes are again starting from 10th of September. So this is like fourth rung of my association with Unacademy. And the timings for ethics classes is from 12:30 p.m. and for Digi Chopal, that is newspaper reading class, is from 3:30 p.m. Based on this particular thing only, this particular YouTube session is happening. Okay. So now if I can tell you something more, this is the thing, basically they are conducting, the Unacademy people are conducting this combat scholarship program, scholarship test rather, 60 minutes, 56 questions. You can get, apart from all the other discounts, you can have your fees completely waived off if you get a good rank. Apart from that also, you can better judge yourself, your preparation. If you are 2022 attempters, then you can also judge your preparation by attempting this exam, because this exam is being given by lakhs of students. So you can have your relative score as well. So every Sunday it happens at 11 a.m. You can enroll, you can write my code here and you can enroll in this exam. So with this particular aspects, now I come to the particular topic that I will be discussing. This National Mental Health Care. Now, before I come to this, I would like to discuss more about mental health. Okay. You know, see, all of a sudden on one particular fine day, you wake up in the morning and you feel completely out of the whole existential realm in which you are living. You feel very sad, depressed for no reason. Then like if it is normal, then after 1 or 2 days it goes off. That means you are a normal person. In fact, those type of frequent periodic feelings are very very important even for your introspection. For your introspection, those periodic fits of that state of mind is very important for your spiritual development, for you to develop as a human being with humane qualities. Okay. So today we also speak of tyranny of positivism. We speak of tyranny of positivism. Okay. Who said this term? This term has been said by Susan David. Okay, a psychologist. She said this term and she said that we are living in an era of tyranny or positivism where we all are expected to be happy every time, because we are generation of Facebook and Insta and God knows what. So every time we have to like have our face smiling. All the faces that you see on Facebook are like happiest. Whenever you go to Facebook, you find that you are the saddest person, and your life is completely static and all those people are moving, and this is the feeling that is shared by every person. Because on Facebook, like, everybody portrays their best life. Okay, but this is not the reality. All those are fake. Okay, because most of the time what is being seen by psychologists and psychiatrists is that as you, as a person, starts to upload more file related to introspection and related to religious scriptures, that means that person is in grave danger of falling into clinical depression and suicidal tendencies. In fact, most of the suicide cases or attempted suicide cases that is being seen, when their Facebook profile is basically seen by investigative agencies, they find that before the suicide attempt or actual suicide, they have started to portray more and more scriptural, like statements in their profile page. So we are always living in that era of tyranny of positivism, that we have a tyranny. That means we have to be positive every time. It is normal to have that frequent pangs of introspection, but those pangs should go after 2 or 3 days. But if it starts impeding, it starts resisting, or it starts into your life as a permanent nature, then the whole thing becomes more different. So you should have counseling sessions, you should have access to psychologists, you should have access to psychiatrist, and without any stigma. The most important aspect of mental health, that why so many people keep on living with their mental health issues, and I am talking about every 100 people, 20 people are living with mental health issues. This mental health is more, what should I say, it's more and more debilitating than physical handicap. Why? You physical handicap, you can show that okay, my hand is cut off, or my hand is paining, or my this that. But mental health you cannot explain, and if you try to tell to people, they laugh it off. and they say that okay यार घूमने चले जाओ कहीं पे ठीक हो जाएगा. No, because of the stigma attached, so many people, and here I am talking about 25 crore people, are living with their mental health issues in some way or the other throughout their life without having any access to medical health facility. Today scientists have started to call this that mental health is also a type of disease domain which we inherit from our genes. So some mutation or some genetic like information that we get from our parents, that is also responsible for mental health. Do you remember that Munna Bhai MBBS chemical locha ho gaya? There are certain ways in which you can have access, but the heavy stigma attached with this particular thing basically makes the whole thing very, very. The moment you say that I had a session with a shrink, or I had that word itself, shrink. Okay, like I had a session with a shrink, or I basically went for a psychiatric counseling. Your friends and everybody or your colleague like starts to think that you have been cut off, or you have gone lunatic, you have gone mad. So the stigma is most important aspect. Okay, and this tyranny of positivism is basically amplifying this whole thing. Today we are living in an era of anxiety, and this is a this fact has to be accepted. If humanity has to do something related to this particular aspect, they have to accept the problem. Now, most of the state with capital S, most of the state and government and society and family is not ready to accept. Today, boys or girls as young as 9 years, 10 years, they have suicidal tendencies. And I'm talking about serious suicidal tendencies. Okay. So, first of all, society should have acceptance in a very logical and rational manner, and then only we can have any rectification of this. So, this is important. So, uh, based on this particular aspects only, the mental healthcare policy and mental health care act was passed. And who was the architect? The architect was the person called as Keshav Deshi Raju. And based on the article published in Hindu Today, I have taken this particular session. How mental health care becomes important for your UPSC exam. Okay, like apart from UPSC exam also, you should be very aware about all these issues. Okay, so not to basically pigeonhole everything into UPSC, but you should know this thing. You know, because of the times we are living in, times very strange times, like the humanity has not got off from corona, and suddenly we have so many issues related to weather calamity, flooding, so many issues related to the other disease that is coming, viral disease, again that bat transformed disease, that is Nipah. Okay, coming in Kerala. Kerala already has seen a very bad second wave of corona. During that time, this Nipah came, and frequently Kerala also experiences flood. Okay, how can you expect a normal human being living in a Kerala to remain normal? Normal in inverted commas. Human beings are not like animals, na? They have thinking and cognition. Certainly they would think about the vulnerability of their life, the what should I say, the mortality, all those fear, what they are doing with life, are they destroying or just frittering away their life. So naturally all those things are important to come into human life. We cannot like just shrug it off. Okay, so, those things and the strange times we are living in, life has become very, very, what should I say? Life has become very, very volatile. Life per se has become very volatile. Like once upon a time, not very far away from now, we used to say that like 40 years, 40 years or 30 years death, unnatural. But now we have started to be very comfortable or like very acceptable to a death happening due to heart attack even at the age of 30. A very fit and fine Siddharth Shukla, that actor you saw, okay, he was spending time in gym for 3 hours and he had a cardiac arrest. He died. So, strange times, and all these times are basically amplifying. And, apart from that, India is also under transition. It has been seen in the world epidemiological domain that whenever a country is in transition, we are in transition not at the social level, but transition also at the level of finance, education, culture. you know we have not left what we had got from our traditional sources, and we have not yet accepted completely what we are getting from western culture. So there is a transition that is happening on all this, okay, because of financial volatility, because of financial uncertainty, okay, families thinking that they have been stuck up. All these things are amplifying mental health, okay, and particularly because of the makeup of India, we have so less social security provided, okay. Most of the, like, 95% of the workforce is working in on or unorganized private sector. All these things are making the whole cauldron, if you can put it in that way, very volatile as far as mental health issues are concerned. Most of the questions that you get in UPSC, if I can come into that domain, questions that you can get in paper 1, like GS paper 1, society, GS paper 2 related to constitution and the provisions and the affirmative actions for this, like autism was accepted as a particular disability to be covered in article 15 and 16. Paper 3, issues related to disaster management, okay, you can have questions related to that. A disaster happened in a particular province, and then people started to have more issues related to their mental health and anxiety, and then how can you formulate a policy for that. And then in GS paper 4, you already have questions related to suicidal tendencies, you have questions related to depression, anxiety, stress. Now, apart from this GS, if you can come to PT, one step before that, you have every year you have one or two questions related to mental health care. Okay. Then you come to essay paper. Essay paper, if you see this, that means 2020 essay paper, all the topics had things which was metaphorical, काव्यात्मक जिसको बोलते हैं. The topics in section A as well as in section B were metaphorical, they were more philosophical. Why? Because those examiner or question setter are also living among you and me only. They are people of, we say na, they are people of bone and blood, like you and me. So they are also feeling similar pangs. In fact, their pangs are more profound. Why? Because they are intellectual people, highly intellectual, highly sensitive people, and they are in that age bracket of, like, where every normal human being starts to think about their mortality. They are 65, 70 years old people. So essay topic, and apart from that, even if your optionals are humanities, then also you have probable chances of getting questions related to mental health care. So this thing makes this topic very important. Okay. And often you find the topics related to mental health care, particularly in Hindu editorial. Okay. So now, like, there are two things exactly. First, there is a national mental health policy, and the second thing is National Mental Health Care Act that was passed in 2017. Okay. Today we also celebrate October 11th as the October 10th as the National Mental Health Care Day. Okay. So, first of all, we would discuss this policy, and both this policy as well as this act was architected upon the principles that was shown by the former secretary, and his name was Keshav Deshi Raju. He died recently. So, the first of all, national mental health policy, the vision is that national mental health policy is to promote mental health, prevent mental illness, enable recovery from mental illness, promote destigmatization and desegregation. Now, these two topics, these two words becomes very important. Why? Because we have mental asylum. है ना? We had mental asylum, okay, where the patient was segregated from the society. In this mental health policy, which basically became the foundation stone of this act of 2017, it said that out of every 100 cases of mental disease, 99 cases does not require segregation. And out of those 100 mental health issue, all those mental health, out of those 100 mental health issues, 100 mental health issue does not require any sort of stigmatization. This stigmatization also has promoted or propped up a very bad sort of industry, if I can call it in that way, industries of quacks, all those gurus, all those tantric. They basically fleece and they basically dupe all those patients. They require medical interventions rather than that thing. So, the most important thing here, destigmatization and desegregation. It is not it is not important, or it is not required that that particular person leaves society to stay in a mental asylum. All these medical interventions of segregating that person basically was applied in 1950s and 60s. Okay, but now medical science has advanced to such an extent that now they have started to look this also as a disease. But society is not ready to accept this as disease. They do not consider this as disease. Okay, so this particular thing, and today the type of openness that we have to encounter. We have made our life open on Facebook and all social networking sites. It's it has its pros and cons. First of all, Facebook has so much of resource now related to what you basically post there, that if Facebook can develop certain sort of algorithm, then Facebook can tell that a particular person is undergoing through a very severe mental issue. Okay, so that can enable the state to come up with preventive mechanism. In fact, the police department is using that. So they have basically found, particularly in western states and southern states, Kerala, Maharashtra, whenever some Facebook post happens in that manner, it advances in that domain, they take preventive measure and they intervene that person so that he does not take any subversive or any radical step meaning suicide. So, and then it later on says that and ensure socio-economic inclusion. This again is the resultant effect of destigmatization and desegregation. You do not have to make that person idle, and you do not have to make that person, he is physically well, mentally also he is well, but he has certain issues which makes him mentally not optimized as far as his performance is concerned. So that can be treated rather than excluding him from the society and economic domain of the whole matrix. Okay, so ensuring socio-economic inclusion of persons affected by mental illness by providing accessible, affordable, quality health and social care to all persons through their lifespan within a rights-based. As I have told you that our country was not that rich to come up with, mental health was regarded as a luxury. Earlier it was thought that mental health issues like depression, and this also added on to the stigmatization. You have all the things, how can you be depressed? So I heard a particular news reporter. Anyway, all those news reporter and those journalists are have become less of a journalist but more of a theater kind of person. But I was listening to a journalist asking question from uh, Deepika Padukone. She had her mental health issues, and he was asking that you have everything in your life. How can you be depressed? Such an insensitive question. Nowadays we are seeing Indian cricket team, football team, hockey team. Naomi Osaka, the uh, lawn tennis champion of belonging to Japan, she, because of her mental health issues, did not participated in French Open this time, and she was very outright in telling this. Okay, so rather than trying to make those issues as luxurious. Okay, nowadays most of the mental health issues are coming from villages. So this requires a right based framework. That means that person should have a right to be medically intervened by the facilities given by the state. Okay, so this was the vision statement of National Mental Health Policy. Then Sachin, yes, you can follow Indian Express as well. And Diljale, I am talking about mental health, and since my class is in English, so I cannot speak with in that Hindi completely. So if you try to follow, हम बीच में हिंदी तो बोल ही रहे हैं, ठीक है? Sachin, you can follow Indian Express as well. So national mental health policy, and you should have joined this class on particular time. So now you have to see the video from beginning. Okay, so I request you to see the video again. Okay, it would be provided on an articulate channel on Unacademy after like uh, 1 hour, 1 or 2 hour, if you really want to see that video. So this is the National Mental Health. Today we are discussing National Mental Health Care Act and National Mental Health Policy. So this is the whole thing related to National Mental Health Policy. National Mental Health Policy became the foundation for that National Mental Health Care Act. Okay. Now we come to the goals of National Mental Health Policy. Okay, the goals of National Mental Health Policy. Before I advance, I would like to tell you, people do not divulge these details so nicely, because of stigma. But then also in 2011 census, it was found that more than 15 lakh people said that they have serious mental health issues. So those 15 lakh people were completely very serious. But what about so many crores of people, so many millions of people who are living? I've already told you that Lancet magazine says that out of every 100 people living in India, 20 people have mental health care issues. Okay, so what are the goals of this policy? To reduce distress, disability, exclusion, morbidity, and premature mortality associated with mental health problems across lifespan of the person. One more thing I would like to tell you here, that mental health care or mental health issues, society has to play a big role, because it is said that the more you share, the less you have these type of issues. Today we have become so open on Facebook, but we have become so closed among our family members. Nobody has that much of time to listen to you. Do you think that you can really tell your real problems? I'm not talking about problems. I'm talking about the root of your problem to your parents, You can go and you can sit and you can tell them that I want to tell you something, and you can really talk the root of your problem. And you know what the root is. It's not possible. Today people do not have time for one another. So we have become, it's a very paradoxical situation where we have become, where you have become, uh, where you have become so open on Facebook, but you have become so closed on, closed among your family members. Okay, so so with more sharing, these type of issues can be catered. And then the second goal is to enhance understanding of mental health. This word is very important, understanding of mental health in our country. Okay, understanding mental health without any stigma and without any segregation. Then, to strengthen the leadership in the mental health sector at the national, state, and district levels. This point needs more elaboration. See, we have a chain of hospitals. We have certain hospitals of national eminence at the center. We have, if I can add, like, so we have certain hospitals of national eminence owned by government of India. Then we have certain hospitals of state eminence. Okay, district hospitals. Okay, beyond these district hospitals, we have CHC, Community Health Center. We have PHC and we have sub PHC. Okay, so this is the health infrastructure starting from institutes of national reputes like AIMS. Starting from AIMS, we have at the lowest fang we have sub PHCs, primary health centers, sub primary health centers. You know, we never thought that mental health issues can be intervened at this level. In fact, at this level also, the facilities provided in district hospitals was a very skeleton type. Out of every 1 lakh people today, we have 0.5 mental health care official or mental health care professional. Out of every 1 lakh people, we have, like, for every 2 lakh people, we have one psychiatrist today. So this is a very dismal picture. So uh, now this particular goal says that you have to enlarge this facility. Okay, so you should have interventions even at sub PHC, but still we do not have resource for a proper delivery of a pregnant woman at the sub PHC level. Then how can we have resource for mental health interventions? Government is thinking, and government is basically working that Anganwadi workers and ANM people, auxiliary nursing staff people, can be trained to screen those people having mental health issues, and then they can be sent to higher centers. That could be a better way, a cost effective way for a country like India. So there is a mandate according to the act that there must be, in the optimum manner, there must be one mental health care professional at the level of PHC. Okay, so strengthening the leadership in mental health sector at the national, state, and district level is also one of the goal of national mental health care policy. Okay, then we come to objectives. Objectives are like to provide universal access to mental health care, to increase access to and utilization of comprehensive mental health services by persons with mental health problems, to increase access to mental health care especially to vulnerable groups including homeless persons in remote areas, educationally, socially, and deprived sections. Today we are living in an in a in a in today we are living in strange times, actually a very highly competitive world. We are living in a transition economy, and everybody today is realizing his or her mortality. Okay, today it is said that the most depressed people are students who are preparing for competitive exams. They are most vulnerable. Okay, so many suicides or attempt to suicides happen every year among people who are preparing for competitive exams. So it shows a very starking picture, and it really mandates, or it really puts government into a position where government should come up with certain resolute action related to this particular aspect. No, then the fourth is to reduce prevalence and impact of risk factors associated with risk factors related to attempt to suicide or murder, or attempt to murder other person, to reduce risk and incidence of suicide and attempted suicide, to ensure respect for rights and protection from harm of persons, to reduce stigma associated with mental health problems, to enhance availability and equitable distribution of skilled human resource. So this is very important. Today we do not have infrastructure to create every year the amount of psychiatrists and psychologists which is required for a country like India. So we intend to build more hospitals that is exclusively for mental health care issues by the national and state government. Okay. Then to progressively enhance financial allocation and improve utilization of mental health promotion care, and to identify and address the social, biological and psychological determinants. There are certain social, that means people who are belonging to certain sections of society, biological, people who are genetically more inclined to develop these type of diseases, and psychological determinants, that means the starting points of issues like depression, anxiety, stress, all those should be treated as determinants for mental health problems, and to provide appropriate intervention. Mental health issues are also like physical health issues. If there is proper medical interventions at proper time, then the patient goes on to live a very normal life. Already we say that, we always use this term called as disability adjusted life years. What does this mean? This means that out of every 365 days, that means out of every 1 year, how many year in a complete lifespan of a working professional is lost due to certain amount of disability. I know this disability could be physical or mental. We are talking that today we have about 6 months of disability adjusted life years as far as mental health issues is concerned, and that is for the entire lifespan of that working professional. Most of the time, whenever we say that we have a person says that he has physical disease, generally doctor tend to find that those diseases have psychosomatic reasons. Doctor have started to, whenever you go for any checkup, doctor have started to screen you for your psychological health, to find whether that physical symptoms have any psychosomatic connections, they have certain psychosomatic connections or not. So now this particular thing is the starting point. Then we come to then we come to this national mental health care policy, and then we come to National Mental Health Care Act. It was passed in 2017. you know the president gave his vote to this mental health care bill, and this became Mental Health Care Act 2017. This act, now we are talking about certain statutory provisions, there we were talking about policy. So National Mental Health Care Policy can be regarded as DPSP, which is not enforceable by law. But Mental Health Care Act is enforceable by law. If you are not getting any facility or care according to the provisions mentioned here, then you can go to government and you can claim your rights. Okay, what does this right say? This right provides for the person who are suffering with mental illness with healthcare and services to protect their rights. And this act came to existence in order to harmonize and put into alignment the local Mental Health Care Act, that means of 1987, with the conventions on rights of persons with disabilities and its protocol, which was adopted by the United Nations on December 13th, 2006. Actually, what has happened exactly in this span of 30 years? Mankind understood mental health issues more nicely due to more this mental health issues was interpreted in more rational way. Earlier mental health problems was so much stigmatized. The only treatment available was electroconvulsive therapy. That means वो जो शॉक लगाते थे, वो पूरा हाई वोल्टेज शॉक. एक्चुअली वो शॉक के पीछे ये था कि अगर if you are having some particular thought every time, like that thought has become an obsession with you, and because of that thought you are having your mental health issues, then this particular shock can take you out of that domain by providing you with a jerk. Okay, but now this is regarded as inhumane way of treating. Then there was issue related to lobotomy. लोबोटोमी में क्या होता था? They basically operated you, they basically drilled your head. Your head, your brain, or whatever you call it as your mind. Your mind says about pain in other portion of your body, but mind itself does not feel pain. So it is very normal that you have your operation of head with you having no anesthesia. You are completely awake. In fact, that is promoted by doctors, so that they want to see that which part of your brain is getting activated, and they basically operate you in a completely conscious way. You are completely conscious, you are awake, and then they operate, because brain does not experience pain for itself. Okay, in lobotomy they used to drill your head, and they used to take a portion out of your brain without understanding the ramifications of that portion of the brain in other aspects of your life. So these were the treatment that was available in 1970s, and this was the treatment which we had in our National Mental Health Care Act of 1987. This was the reason why this particular act is called as local. When more scientific interventions came up, more interpretations and decipherments happened related to mental health care and mental diseases. There was a convention that was passed by the United Nations which said that right of persons with disabilities and its protocol. And India is a signatory, and India has also ratified. That means India has to follow any law that India makes for this particular aspect. That law of India should be in consonance with this particular convention. That means most of the provisions of Mental Health Care Act 2017 goes with this particular convention, that is right of persons with disabilities and its protocol. Okay, so Mental Health Care Act exactly, first of all, mental illness has to be defined. What do you mean by mental illness? If you say, like in most of the time we say in a very joking manner, like not also joking, in a very stigmatized manner कि mental हो गया. But at least today, after this corona, most educated people who are educated, they do not make fun of these type of things now, because they have felt themselves that particular aspect, that depression, anxiety, stress, vulnerability. Okay, first of all, in this act, the mental illness has been clearly defined in the act as a substantial disorder. See the word substantial. So you cannot treat a person with a treatable depression or treatable bipolar disorder as a person having severe mental he needs to be segregated out of the society and to be kept in mental asylum. No, that person should have a substantial disorder of thinking, mood and perception, orientation or memory that grossly impairs judgment, behavior, capacity to recognize reality or ability to meet the ordinary demands of life. Mental conditions associated with the abuse of alcohol and drugs. We also have in our country, we have a problem related to drug abuse. National Drugs and Psychotropic Substances. According to National Crime Records Bureau, which keeps record related to NDPS Act, says that some of the states like Punjab, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, and some of the states of northeast are having very bad experience as far as the youth population is concerned, because most of the youth are in the complete garb of these drugs. Okay, so this also issue is also related with mental health care, but it does not, that again the definition, if you come back to that, but it does not regard mental retardation, a condition of arrested or incomplete development of mind of a person specially characterized by subnormality of intelligence, as mental illness. That means it only associate mental illness with something related to your cognitive framework and not related to what you are born with. So if some patient born with spasm, epilepsy, those type of things, they should not be regarded as person having mental illness. Okay, so this definition is important. Then we come to prohibited features. According to this Mental Health Care Act 2017, electroconvulsive therapy without the use of muscle relaxants and anesthesia is completely prohibited. Electroconvulsive therapy for minors, sterilization of men or women when such sterilization is intended as a treatment of mental illness. See the type of understanding we had about mental illness during that time. We thought that tubectomy and vasectomy can be considered as a treatment for this mental illness. This type of hysteria, they could be treated by sterilizing. This was so off the truth. So based on those aspects, these features were there in our Mental Health Care Act of 1987. But now these features have become prohibited. Okay, chained in any manner or form. In fact, keeping anybody in chain has been time and again by Supreme Court in its various judgment has said that it also goes against Article 21, right to a dignified human life. The informed consent of the patient on whom surgery is being performed, this is also important now, and approval from the concerned board to perform the surgery. So these are all the prohibited features and these are all the two affirmative features. The patient must be consented if any operation is being done, and approval should also be taken from the board to perform the surgery. Whether the beneficial points of that surgery outnumbers the shortcomings of that surgery or the repercussions of that surgery. Okay. So, and then we also have Central Mental Health Authority. In that Mental Health Care Act 2017, there is a provision to create the Central Mental Health Care Health Authority. It will enlist and register all men. So it would be like an, what should I say? It should be like a regulatory agency, a quality control agency, and it would also come up with syllabic changes and the pedagogic changes as far as mental health care professional education is concerned. Central Mental Health Authority would also be taking on the burden of coming up with the protocol and the etiquettes that must be followed when you are talking with a person having mental health care issue. Okay. So these are all some of the issues that we have discussed in today's class, and this particular thing has become important as far as your exam is concerned. And one more thing I would like to tell you. Okay, and this has been given in your Hindu article that is published today. It says that it is important that the society should not be precipitating and perpetuating. I should be writing that because that sentence basically is the essence. Society should not be precipitating and perpetuating factors linked to structural barriers such as class, caste, and gender related disparities. That means National Mental Health Care Act says, or the in a nutshell, if you can call it, it should not precipitate and perpetuate. That means it should not propagate and it should not promote any factor that is linked to structural barrier, that is caste, class, and gender. That means mental health care issues should not be seen with the lens of a particular class, a particular caste, or a particular gender. Okay, you know, there must be convergence between health and social sectors in developing robust responses. And when we say that there must be convergence between health and social sectors, we are talking not only of social sectors but also the socio-economic sectors. Mental health patients, it is always considered as an handicap that mental health patients are segregated from the society or they are stigmatized. So according to this National Mental Health Care Act, it says that segregation and stigmatization should not be happening. Okay, most of the time what we see that even those mental patients who are living in mental asylum, they have been left by their family members. Even if they have recouped, but because of the stigma, they keep on living in that mental asylum because their family members are not ready to accept them as part of their family because of the stigma. So if I can say that this stigma is the biggest barrier that a society is facing today, society of an Indian kind is facing today, as far as how to deal with this issue of national mental health, like mental health care issues. You know, Again, I would like to tell you that mental health care issues have become a very important goal point as far as India reaching to the Sustainable Development Goals is concerned, SDG that is. You know, Mental health care has become a very important aspect if India has to provide a welfare state model. Mental health care issue has also become important for India's economic growth because of disability adjusted life years. Already due to mental health care issues, we are losing every year 3% of our GDP out of work. Okay, suboptimal performance, keep on living with the disease. Okay, then segregating that person. Okay, so all these issues are costing India a lot. And mental health care issues are increasingly being found in youth working population, active population. So all those things make this mental health care act a very very profound thing, and the provisions mentioned in mental health care act, you can regard them as one of the stepping stone if India really intends to provide to the world the optimum picture of demographic dividend. Okay, so with this particular statement, I come to the conclusion of the class. I hope that you have liked this, And again, if I can, if I can provide to you as a reckoner, today one more class, a YouTube session would be happening of mine from 8:30 p.m. So if you have time at your disposal and if you have facility, then please watch that YouTube session as well. Okay, so with this, I come to the conclusion of the class. I hope that you have liked it. Keep commenting if you have liked it. And please, while commenting, try to maintain a civic sense of debate and discussion. Do not comment anything that goes off the ground. It is very painful for the teacher. So do not do that, because anyway this topic itself is very sensitive. So with this, I take your leave, and again we shall meet. Keep on following me on Unacademy. Okay, like you can follow me on Unacademy on this particular, that is Niraj dot UPSC. This is Niraj, Niraj dot UPSC. You can follow me, my profile on Unacademy. If you intend to take admission on Unacademy, then you can take admission by quoting my name, like quoting my code, that is referral code, as it is called, Neeraj Lexicon. This is N. Okay. Okay. So you can quote this code and you can have added discounts. So thank you so much for attending the class, and thanks a lot. Hope to see you again. And please join my class from tomorrow. All the plus subscriber who have not taken subscription, you also please take subscription. And you can join my class from tomorrow 12:30, and again from, like, one class would be happening from 12:30 every day on the plus, and the second session would be happening from 3:30 p.m. onwards. So with this, I take your leave. Thank you so much for attending, and all those people who would be watching this video later on also, the best like the best what should I say, the best result or the best contentment which I would get after you watch this video is that you develop certain sense of sensitivity toward this particular aspect, that is mental health care. So thank you very much.